In late 1940s Britain, the demands of wartime efforts led to significant labour shortages, exacerbated by the mobilisation of armed forces, expansion of the merchant navy and the redirection of industry and agriculture. The upheavals of the Second World War, India's partition and the Mangala Dam's construction in the early 1960s displaced many Punjabis, prompting migration. This period saw a surge in new Commonwealth immigrants to Britain, driven by better job prospects and living conditions. However, the booming British economy of the 1950s and 1960s faced labour shortages, notably in sectors like textiles, metal manufacturing and transportation, known for their tough working conditions and low pay. While efforts to fill these gaps included recruiting women, young people and Irish workers, the needs were still not met. Consequently, colonial workers were recruited and transported to Britain, while others arrived voluntarily in search of new opportunities. British workers still recovering from the war were hesitant to fill these roles, and so families like the Singh and Khanpur family stepped in. These individuals found employment in various sectors, such as textile factories and foundries, contributing significantly to the agricultural and cultural fabric of Britain. It's incredible to think that much of this pivotal migration and integration began right here in the Black Country. Today we're going to look at two families and their history in this country, in an attempt to bring people's cultures together through their shared history and celebrate their diversity. Lovely to meet you, Jordan. Thank you so much for giving me time today. Devinder, it's great to meet you as a second generation Indian living in the Black Country. Peter, it's lovely to meet you today.
Nice to meet yourself, Shaz.
But today we're going to talk about a bit of your history and when you came to the UK and the journey that took you on. So do you mind firstly starting with a bit of a history, the year that you came in and a bit of what you thought about the Black Country?
We came to England in 1960 with my mum and brother and sister.
Basically, I was born in 1970. Obviously, our grandfather came in 1955 and then our father came in 1964. But I'm born in 1970 and I'm Punjabi and lived in the Dudley Borough.
I myself was born in 1972, being the third generation.
So what part of the Black Country do you live in?
I currently live in Tipton, but I've lived in Smithwick and Handsworth, and then I moved to Tipton in 2009.
I actually live in an area called Tipton, which is known as the Black Country, and whenever I meet new people, they ask me where you're from, and I say I'm from the Black Country. Black Country? How you heard of the Black Country? What's the Black Country about? I go, the Black Country is basically where all the foundries, all the coal mining was done.
Like Dudley, Black Country, there was full of soot there. You couldn't put your clothes outside.
And because of all the soot in the air, it was all black and foggy, hence why they call it the Black Country.
Country, that's the history of it, that's where the name came from. So can you tell me a bit about from where your family are from back in India?
I'm from India, Punjab, in Fagwada, and the Pend is Kukulpend.
Kukulpend?
Yes, Kukulpend.
Basically, my granddad came to the UK from Punjab in 1954, I believe. He came on his own with many other people from India to come to maybe settle down and work. And then I believe my father and his brother and sister came over in 1960.
So my brother, strangely enough, was born on the 30th of March 1923, which is today. So it's his birthday, yes, so it's poetic. And he came from a small village in the Punjab called Pratapra, which is in between Falor and Numel. And he was the son of a farmer. 5 sisters, 4 brothers, 11 in total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big family. But in them days, it was common to have the big families, wasn't it?
Very much so, very much so, yes. Everything was family orientated then, yeah.
We came on a ship and we all settled down in Smethwick.
My grandfather came in 1955, 54, 55. But obviously, their families came a bit earlier, probably in the 1937s, or there's families before that. But yeah, there's families before that. Not our families, but we know friends of families came here before that. But our first generation was in 1955. It was quite a tough challenge for him to work at knockout and labour work.
My father was working in a foundry in Bluegate, and he was a sand maker for a foundry, sand for the cause. And he worked there. That was the only job he had in England.
I know my granddad and my father and even my mother, they all used to work hard. They'd leave the house in the morning, and basically ourselves used to go to school, and we never used to see them until they got back. And then when they used to come back home, we used to do the cooking, and even if there wasn't working during the day, sometimes they used to work nights as well.
Obviously, my father-in-law was a coal miner at an early age as well.
Best part was there was no problem finding work, Long as you know your name, your address, start Monday. None of these fill this in a form that, what experience have you got? Because the work was really all manufacturing,
The guys used to go to work in the morning, and then the guys who were working during the night came and they slept. So it was like a cycle, non-stop.
Back in the day, they used to like my grandfather used to say, there's about like 15, 20 people in one house, in a terraced house. They all used to be in different shifts, like morning, afternoon and night shift. You sleep wherever you can, you know what I mean? And one kitchen, you can just imagine how many, and there's only men then, there's no women then.
Growing up, I used to remember my dad going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. He'd work all Friday night, all the early hours of Saturday morning, do the Saturday shift up until 12 o'clock, and then return back home. And then he'd still come home and cook the meat, because he felt it was his role. And that was because he was driven. He knew that he needed to achieve something.
You spoke about your father,
right?
And how he obviously brought you all to this country. Can you recall whether your father was recruited to come to this country, or whether he made the choice voluntarily to come to this country? Can you remember?
He was recruited for work because after the war there was a labour shortage, and he obviously come with some other people and settled down here, and after he sent for his family.
So can you recall whether is it Baba, I think you mentioned earlier, was he recruited by the Britain to come here, or did he come here
I
voluntarily?
believe he was recruited after the war with the workload that UK had to offer.
Yeah, you touched on some of the barriers that your family faced when they were here, such as language. Was there any other challenges that you recall, or some challenges that in your generation that you faced growing up?
The only challenge they used to have a lot was writing letters.
One of the main, I suppose, obstacles that you would see is you've got individuals who had no communication skills. They weren't able to communicate with the country that they're coming into. So it was almost like the Dick Whittington story. You know, there's that road and the streets of gold, but what they were going to meet here, nobody knew.
There was only challenge, once you go to the doctors, they wasn't speaking English, or some other older people used to go with them and explain to the doctor a little bit how you can help him.
Because they didn't have English, but they were uneducated in India. Our family's uneducated in India, uneducated here, so we didn't have any education at all.
I think your father's generation, and you probably experienced where you took on low-paid jobs.
Those people really worked hard,
Don't forget they didn't have no health and safety then, you know what I mean? They used to wear no, they didn't. I mean, obviously they used to wear 3 trousers, couple of jumpers, just because there's no health and safety. No masks, no nothing. So they used to get really, obviously the skin used to get burnt and everything, you know what I mean? It was a heavy work.
But then again, they had no choice. After that, the things start improving slowly.
Factory work that's when our foundation of our family is made. The sacrifice, one, they're quite poor here. Yeah. Secondly, they were supporting the family at the background in Punjab.
One of the things you've got to understand is that a lot of individuals who came to Britain, most of them hadn't even ventured to the likes of places like Delhi, which were at 3 or 4 hours away. So it would have been a massive shock.
But when you see an Asian person, the first thing they say, what village are you from? And people used to say, मैं तो Khanpur है, मैं Belgae तो आया, Samrai तो आया. And that's all the connection was.
A lot of things were word of mouth. So there was that hope of, they didn't have residencies where, if we were, say for argument's sake, how we prepare now, we go on holiday for a couple of days, we've got the ability to be able to book hotels, work out tram routes and so forth like this. Here it was more of a, I know this gentleman and he's promised me that he'll be able to find me somewhere to stay, help me find a job. So I think that would have been probably another thing on their mind as to whether these promises were actually going to come into fruition.
As I was growing up, my granddad having a allotment in Smethwick, he used to go every sort of weekend, besides having his Monday to Friday job. He had an allotment in Smethwick and I used to go and help him.
It's nice to know that he had an allotment here, because that's something that the skills that they came with.
Yeah, that's right,
the agriculture, the farming back in India, that's quite prevalent. The lands that they own, etc., etc.
The primary reason that my dad came over here, as I say, was because out of the 4 sons, he was one of the strongest. And he promised his father, because being a farmer, it wasn't very lucrative. It was all dependent on the weather, as you can appreciate, and so forth. And so he promised my granddad that he would be the one that would help him to marry the 5 girls, my 5 aunts.
Back in the day, it was arranged marriage then. I think they only seen the photo. I don't even know if they looked at a photo or they just got married in Dudley.
And he'd promised that he wouldn't see my granddad, until he'd done that. So when he married the last one, my granddad had passed away the year before.
It's a big sacrifice.
It was indeed.
Look at the peacock. How are you? Are you looking well, ain't you? Hey?
Well, as can be.
You're still young, looking younger than young, eh? Yeah. Just also, I just want some bit of a history, background about our family, you know.
Yeah.
Just want to know, when did your uncle, your dad, came to the country?
Well, he came to the country in 1937.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
He came by ship. He didn't have a job, but he made his earnings through selling goods in pubs and clubs.
Oh wow.
He had a peddler's license.
Yeah.
Right.
And you found him. What bend is that? What village was it?
Village is Sundowmal.
Yeah.
It's in Jalandhar.
Okay, Punjab, yeah.
Yeah, Punjab. Yeah. But he only stayed here for a short while, and then he went back to India, right?
Yeah.
And then the Second World War broke out.
Yeah.
And after that, he come back again in 1950.
Okay.
Because India was a British colony, he had a British passport.
Yeah.
From day one. They started working. They came to Birmingham, straight to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And they were working in factories, Smethwick, Birmingham Industries.
Yeah, they had Birmingham 1 and 2, didn't they? Is that what it was? Something like
there
that?
was quite a few different parts.
Yeah.
I think there's about 5 or 6 different parts. Right?
Okay.
But he worked in number 2.
Yeah, Birmingham 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in 55, November 55, he called us over.
Okay.
Right. That's my mum and my 4 brothers.
Yeah.
Right. First left the village and then caught a train from Jalandhar to Bombay.
How long that took?
At least 2 days.
Okay, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we got on the ship from Bombay,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
For 14 days.
2
right?
weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. The boat, the ship used to, because it was in the water, at night time we would fall out of the bunk beds.
Wow.
Several occasions we
Yeah.
fell out, right?
Yeah.
It was a long journey. We was driving back because it was November, right?
Right.
It'd been snowing, and because I've never seen snow before, and we was looking out the window, and we were saying, "What's that white stuff?"
Oh yeah, you didn't see it because you come from the village.
Yeah. We've never seen snow before, and we were just amazed, wondering where we'd come to. Right. I first decided to carry on for further education, but my brother got me a job, so
Yeah.
I just left.
Oh, you left? Because why you left for? What was the reason?
Well, I just thought, let's earn some money instead of going back to school.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's in here?
Uh-huh.
That's my mum and my mummy,
Acha.
Massey,
Hanji.
and mummy.
What year?
Oh, that's something like the 80s, I'd say.
1980s.
Acha.
Yeah, this is actual a video shoot of my mum and dad when they got married, actually. This was.
All right.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Oh, I can't remember. What?
1970.
Got married.
Yeah, 1970. There you are, eh?
Our brothers and
Idhar kool aaya.
family, that is.
Acha.
Yeah. All our cousins, nephews,
Huh.
sorry, birthdays.
You just get
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
for birthdays. You can see there's quite a few of us there.
Yeah.
Me and that one there.
You look young there, don't you?
I know.
You still look young now. That's a nice family photo as well, isn't it? Hey, passport.
That was actually my father when he first came into the country in 1954. Yeah, his passport photo, unfortunately, couldn't salvage the original passport, but I've still got this.
Yeah.
This is a blast from the past.
Huh?
I remember
Wow.
Huh?
up of a morning and finding a lot of these on the doorstep. 2 weeks, I think they used to say it used to take. So by the time you invited someone to the wedding, the event had already happened.
Oh, they're called 1964. Hey,
Oh, look at that.
hey, we still got the passport.
How young he looks in that.
Still got the original entry details.
Yeah.
1st of February 1964. There you go. Living evidence.
I'm getting a bit distracted with the
Oh,
plan
God.
at the back.
All right.
Meet up person in the planner. Is that you, or am I wrong? Am I mistaken?
I don't know, you're probably mistaken, but you got the two good-looking guys at the back. It's not me.
Because it says Bhangra Smash Up. Is that your organisation?
It's our family band. Obviously, we established in 2017 in September, and our first show was in Stourbridge for Mary Stevens. And you got Ryan on the right-hand side, another good-looking guy. And you got the other good-looking guy is Josh, and myself. With the headband.
With the dolki.
So it's a dolki which my father bought himself from Punjab, and obviously the lads, Josh and Ryan, got the tool, which they're from Punjab as well. So we're in a band. And that was established in 2017, and most of our shows was in the Dudley Borough, in the Black Country, for community work and charity work. We've got a recording company now called Bhangra Smash Up Records.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we released our first album last year, and also we've working on our second and third album, all of us as well. And I think it's fantastic, for the next generation. To be part of that really, and just to do other things. That's a great hobby, I think.
Sounds like more than a hobby. It does sound like you've got a great band there. And how does it tie in with Western lifestyles? Does it tie in, or do you just focus on Indians and Asian backgrounds?
We focus on everybody really, all communities. I think all the communities are equal, but mostly our music is diverse anyway, with English twist on it. You got English, pop, rock, and we mix that into our dol and drums and chemta. It's not like three of us. We got Jessica, we got Pete, we got David, and we got Jazz, we got Harjinder. So it's a big team of us. It's not just three of us. So we got a few of us supporting the band. Like you say, it's a hard job, isn't it? It's not like easy just picking up an instrument. You just have to go up and down the country and entertain. It's very, very difficult.
Can you tell me a bit about your cultural background? And I'm going to focus on the Bhangra aspect. Where does this come from? What is the history of Bhangra?
When somebody used to get married, they used to probably hire a pub or something at a wedding, entertainment.
Yes.
People like Pichangis, Khalif Manak and Apna Sandeek,
Apna Sangeet.
All these Indian singers. It was all good entertainment by the boys, and they used to entertain you a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously there was videos and only two channels, black and white, BBC One and ITV. Then BBC Two started.
Well, we used to watch Top of the Pops, on the TV, and then it was only on the radio you got to hear like Bhangra tracks on the radio station, which was on a Friday, and then you used to listen to that, and then the next day you used to go out to the shops to go and buy a tape in them days.
I used to buy one record, and my friend, he used to buy next record after me. He used to get me recording of the tape,
Yeah.
The only times that we would have had interaction with Bhangra would have been to weddings, and they were really
100%. You know what I mean? Like all our instruments are from Punjab, and our clothing, costumes, kurte and pajame are all from Punjab as well. It's all traditional. Bringing mixing them two communities together. It's fantastic. It's diverse, and bringing the instruments together as well. You can't beat it, and obviously you got like mainstream songs which are mixed into the Bhangra. It's a twist around it, I think.
But in those days, Bhangra was raw because it wasn't DJs, it was live bands, and so everybody used to dress up in their fineries, and it was the opportunity to just let your hair down and be able to dance and just feel being part of a whole social gathering. And Bhangra kind of just enhanced it because it kind of gave you that ability to feel, I'm part of this. This is where I'm growing up in. Each one of these brown faces, I understand, I know who these are. And the smiles and the frivolity and the laughter, It was mind-boggling.
Do you happily share your hobby, as you said earlier, with your neighbours, with people from your residents who may be from the white ethnic background? Would you happily share? Would they happily accept that invitation? And what are your experiences?
I think that's where we started first, anyway.
Oh, okay.
We actually we performed like Mary Stevens, British Art Foundation, Acorns, all the different kind of charities, and mostly they were like the non-Asians anyway. So all of our bookings are non-Asians anyway, and believe it or not, yeah. So which we had a great support. I think without that public support, I don't think we would have had we wouldn't have gone anywhere really, to be honest with you. And it's all basically happened. The foundation happened in the Dudley Borough. Hi, they're just going to go through some LPs and cassettes. Back in the day, our father and the band members called the Pachungi group. It was formed in Smedhi Godwara in 1967, which they used to learn Punjabi school with Darshan Pogal. And the Pachungi group, it was their first EP, used to be EP for first. And recorded in 1970 with Star Agencies, and now it's Oriental Star Agencies now. And they made so many EPs, they made cassettes as well, Star Agencies and Oriental Star Agencies. And they made also LPs as well, which they were released as well on the same label. And that was their first black and white photo, which was Fira, Talojan, my dad, Palla, and my chacha, which they've done so many competitions around the country, and which they came first, second, third, and sometimes they didn't get a prize. But you can see the catalogue starting from the EPs to the vinyl for LPs, then LPs to the cassettes, and then obviously after the cassettes, it's gone into CDs after that. But obviously CDs are still. We used to buy these CDs, for different, groups, go to the shops. But now it's all, digital online now on Spotify. And this was obviously these are all the members. That's Oriental Star, that's me as well. Fira, Harjinder, Tao, Machacha, Palla, Sham, Parvinder, Emma, Jas, Jaswinder, Naranjan, Koka, and Jol, Antalochan and Gurdial. Sadly passed away at the moment, both of them. The youngest member and the oldest member have passed away now of Pachungi group, but the legacy is still going very strong, I believe, for the past over 50 years now. And on the Star Agencies and the Pachungi group label, they recorded 50 albums. Obviously, folk, UK Bhangra. You got religious albums on the back as well, like Guru Ravidas and Dukhi and Dipakar, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and Baisakhi ones, Qawwaliyan, and also just pop music as well, just pure. And that's where with the Nari Sangeet Party and Musafir group and Jan group as well, that's where the foundation started in 1969, 70. But after all this, all the legacy is still going. We still Ryan, Josh, we still got our first LP called Bhangra Smash Up Records by Bhangra Smash Up, and we got that, and we started the same legacy as well. We thought, why not? Let's do an album as well. Obviously, there's a lot more than that, but after that, just a tip of the collection we've got.
So as you were growing up, because you were obviously born and bred here, can you recall some of your neighbourly relations that you had and the culture that you may have shared with your neighbours? Was there any culture sharing, or was it just me and them? Or?
No. Which strange as a lot of people say. I myself and the family grew up around mainly Indians and Muslim families.
We had a mix of people, white, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and everybody sort of got on with each other. We all played in the backyards.
We had excellent. I mean, we had really good neighbours. Really, obviously, we used to have dogs back then. You know what I mean? And our neighbours have dogs. So we had my dog and her brother's dog and her mother, and then we used to have cats.
Everybody used to be very helpful. It all used to be open, like none of now, like lock your doors and do that. Everybody was, you can leave your money under the bottle milk, for the milkman, and bread on the doorsteps. None of these lock your doors and watch your windows.
We were actually all living in one house with my granddad, my grandma, my mum and dad, myself, and my brothers and sisters.
So was it a big house?
No, it was just basically a 3-bed house.
Terraced house.
Terraced house. Yeah.
That was quite prevalent back in the days because they had a little money, because the jobs that they did as they came to this country were very low paid.
Because as I say, nobody was more affluent than their neighbour and so forth. And if there was the other individual who had a vehicle, they were always prepared to offer the vehicle for your disposal if you needed an emergency, i.e. going to a hospital or an appointment or so forth like that. So yeah, it was nice growing up.
We never used to lock, we never had an alarm or anything. They always used to come, anybody can just come in there and knock on anybody's door. So we had that love and respect for all our neighbours, so we were quite happy, we were.
There was open door policy. I remember growing up and my neighbour's door used to always be open. Opposite, we had the Singh family living there, again, doors were always open. We used to just be in and out of each other's house, and nobody really said anything.
No.
And it was part of that, almost that extended family, rather than us being different, we were one.
That's right, it's all equal, wasn't it? Back in the day, there was a lot of respect, and people used to help each other then.
There was a family camaraderie where, you could knock on the next door neighbour's door and they would say, I've run out of sugar, or I need some ghee, some butter. And it was a wonderful place to live. There wasn't any hostility at all.
I still remember a pop person delivering pop, you know what I mean, milkman. Used to put some money in, and the milkman used to come every once a week and collect money. And I still remember, there's a coal people, we used to have one coal fire. Yeah, there was no central heating then, just a coal fire and heat all the house and a cellar. And everybody used to just that's all it was at those days.
And the cellars back in the day were used, they used to have the coal, I think they're called coal shafts, where the coal used to come and they used to drop the coal in.
Basically, they used to have a steel thing.
That's it.
And basically the coal person come in a lorry with a bag and just chuck it under the cellar. Yeah. That's what we used to have that.
There was one grocery shop there, and he used to come to your house with a book to write what you want, and he used to deliver. And we used to pay him after a couple of months,
Yeah, you brought me back to my childhood.
Oh, did I?
I'm a 1980s
right.
child. So I'm of the second generation now of the communities that you were speaking about.
Yeah.
And I remember we used to know all our neighbours, we used to know the neighbours, the few streets ahead, the few streets back.
Yeah.
And we had that lovely neighbourly relations, but like you mentioned, we have kind of lost that handle.
Yeah.
People would go abroad, would go away on holiday and give the keys of their own properties to the neighbour and say, just keep an eye on it, just pop in, switch on the lights and so forth. Not that there was a need for that, because robberies and burglaries in those days were very rare, but it was a more kind of a thing where it helped to enhance trust with each other. This individual trusts me to look after probably the most expensive asset that I own.
I remember growing up, Mum made a decision to send us to a Church of England school, and her reason behind it was I wanted to learn another religion, another culture. I wanted to integrate. But I think that benefited me growing up. So, yeah, did you have any like that?
No, there was like in the Gurdwara they used to do where you could learn Punjabi, write Punjabi, but we weren't into that growing up.
And then you always had the Gurdwara where you'd meet and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a close-knit community.
Talking about the Gurdwaras on Orjabalankar.
Yeah.
The seva that you received, I always say, with the nature of the work that I do on a professional level, I do a lot of work with the faith sector, and I always say I never felt welcome at the Gurdwara. Because they always welcome me. I tend to go unattended.
Yeah.
And they welcome me, they show me around, they invite me to the langar. Yeah, so.
Primary function of the Gurdwara, if you ever noticed on any of the Gurdwara, they always have 4 entrances into, and that is basically to represent that the doors of the Lord are open to everybody, regardless of creed, colour and religion.
Yeah.
And everybody used to get on with each other.
Before it used to be love and respect and help each other.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? You had that PR, growing up in that. So,
and competition, they were all in the same position.
Absolutely, yeah.
Their homelands, they came to seek a better opportunity in the UK, and they did the best that they could to get by. And they did it as a collective, in unity.
That's right, yeah. It was all unity and...
You've got to understand, when we were young, there wasn't any religious hostility in any shape or form. Even our English counterparts, we learnt from them and they learnt from us.
You mentioned Dudley a lot, and I'm assuming you still live in Dudley, I believe you said.
Still in the Dudley Borough, yeah.
So what makes you stay in the Black Country?
Obviously, my dad and mum lived in Dudley. They got married in Dudley. I live in there. My children live in Dudley Borough. Obviously, and you got different kind of communities in Dudley, and everybody know each other, and obviously we're quite happy, and you get along, don't you?
Yeah, it's your roots that keeps you there. What makes you stay in the Black Country?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think to some certain degree, familiarity.
Black Country for myself is where I grew up, where my family still is, where my friends are, where my children are growing up, and it's in my heart, I think, the Black Country. Maybe my children might move out the Black Country and then maybe I would, but till then, I'm stopping the Black Country.
Stopping the Black Country. I think I'll join you as well. I'm in the Black Country, that's I'm quite happy here.
This is almost like a background, a backyard to some certain degree. Everybody has the same cultural values and respect for each other. Those smiles, no matter how much of a hard day you've been on, they're there, they're prevalent. Those familiar faces, and more than anything, the first generation that are still luckily to be surviving, I'll help you, remind you, these are your roots. These are the people that placed you here. These are the people that sacrificed their family, their friends, everything they know to give you a better life. And so I couldn't live anywhere else.
Okay, Uncle, why do you stay in this area?
When I come here, the area was new to us, and we got used to going around and where everything is, right? So it just builds up on you, so you're accustomed to the area you're in, right? And we thought, well, we got everything around us and we don't need to go anywhere else.
Okay. Right? I can't say it hasn't been good for England,
The other reason is education and all the jobs which I had. I had 9 different jobs in a matter of 6 years after I left school. And I used to go from one job to the other job without any problems.
See, them days, before you left school, you had a job to go to. You didn't, unless you want to do this training, go to college. And obviously our time was a little bit different. There was a job there if you wanted it.
I used to bring home, it was around about £2.50. Well, it was £2 and 10 shilling in those days.
It's a lot of money those days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it's a lot of money.
Well, it wasn't that much money, right?
Yeah.
Because if you started spending, you'd be soon gone. But people, they weren't aware, right, that money's hard to come by, right? Yeah. So you may try to make it go a long way. So you spent your money very carefully.
All the white people used to be majorities, and the kids, you understand cowboy films?
Yes.
When the Red Indian... They used to play up like that, you know. But after a few years, when the young people and the children start growing up,
The diversity of
that's it, yeah.
has changed, hasn't
That's
it?
it.
It has changed to a little bit.
Or it used to
That
be
with its benefits, doesn't it?
really good.
But that's our roots, and you believe that's our home. And even though we came from our bandis in Khanpur and my nanke is Jimme, but even our generation, I believe that's where we live and that's our home, and that's what we grew up with, I think.
In comparison to what you have shared, it's very different today, isn't it?
Very much so.
It seems to live in their own pockets.
Yeah.
You go to your work, you come back, you cook the meal, you feed the family, and you're back to sleep, and it starts all over again, doesn't it?
But
those neighbourly relationships, would you say, have gone better or worse?
Worsened. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at situations now, most people have lived next door to an individual and they don't even know their next door neighbour's name.
Again, looking back at your baba, your father, what do you think they would say? How far, as migrants, as international migrants, we have come?
I think my granddad would be so proud of us to what we've achieved, like my father is, and what we're doing with our children, what sort of education they're getting, how we're pushing them, to better their lives.
Your father and all their history that keeps in Dudley.
It's a massive history, isn't it? Yeah, it's a massive history, especially when your parents got married there.
My last question to you would be, what would your message be for the next generation?
It's a lot easier for them because they are educated here. If they try, they can get their future back, where they want to take it.
They've got it a bit easier than what we and my fathers had.
Thinking back to your father now, he obviously sacrificed a lot. He left his homeland
Yes.
seeking better opportunities.
Yes.
And I'm sure in his mind he thought about his children. His children will have a better life. If
Yeah.
I take that step,
Yeah.
my children, my family will have a better life. Do you recall any message that your father would say to you about seeking a better life here, the importance of education or anything like that, that you would like to share?
He used to say to me, he says, if an individual from India who could speak no English can set up roots here and build a property, he says, then you have no barriers. He goes, the doors are open to you. The only person holding you back is you. He says, these excuses of, I can't be bothered to wake up in the morning, are the things that hold us back. We never had that.
They can do what they want to do.
Just be honest, be good to people, you know what I mean? And if you can help someone, you can, to the best ability. And if we're musicians, if you know any kind of art, learn an art and perform, and you can touch hearts that way, and you can make people happy.
Yeah, music does make you happy, doesn't it?
That's right. I mean, that's what. Absolutely. And if you can throw that message through music, why not? Make people happy and dance, enjoy life, innit?
The world's your oyster. It's only you holding yourself back. If an individual has set roots and bought houses, educated children, put myself through a degree program, then there's nothing holding you back to achieve what you want. It's only yourself, your mindset.
That's a great message, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
From generations.
That's it, yeah.
That the choice that our fathers made to come to this country, to help the economy of this country rebuild after the war.
Yeah.
But for us, the second generation, my children, the third generation, for them, they can seek those better opportunities, better their lives even, and shape it to what they feel is best for them.
Be good, be honest, and try and live your life to the best ability and look after your family and friends and loved ones.
Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you.
It's been really, really great speaking to you. Thank you for sharing your story with us so freely, so openly, and really, really love to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much yourself, Shah.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for sharing the history and the memory lane of your dad and the family. So thank you and God bless anyway.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
What a great way to end. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries, thank you.
Great learning about your journey in Great Britain, and I have hope for the future generations.
Thank
Thank you very much.
God bless and thank you very much.
Let's just go find a better place to call our home. 'Cause everyone round here looks our way with a face like we're something wrong.